guitar players. I have a updated guitar review. So when I first did this guitar review, I did in like 1080p. I'm now in 4K, and I never did post it. So at this point in time, I'm just gonna give the updated review. So now I got this as a birthday present to myself in November 2021. So I've now had it for just about 3 years. And the good points, the notes sustain, they ring out, they sound beautiful. I mean, everything sounds high quality. Everything is high quality. The electronics, the pentameters, the pickups, the materials, and the bridge, the tailpiece, the tuners, it stays in tune. I mean, even if I don't play this for a couple months, it's in tune. It is absolutely, great quality materials. But, and here comes the negative parts. The negative parts is that there is obviously the quality control issue. And I went through these things would sell like hotcakes no matter what they looked like. I mean, there was washed up veneers, the colors were all off and everything. And some were dark, some were faded, and they're just absolutely horrible. Some of the fingerboards have got that nice, rich, dark rosewood, and then some are just kind of sugar brown, and it was horrible, but they would still sell like hotcakes. Like, oh my gosh, it's a Gibson, it's got Gibson on a headstock. I'm like, come on, man. But either way, it was great because when they would sell 4 of them, they bring in another 4, and they were terrible too. And I was going between this was one that Sweetwater had. It was a AAA versus AA, and then I had the AA veneer, and then they had the 60s neck profile. This is the 50s neck profile. Thank goodness the 50s neck AAA veneer was the one that finally a good one came in. But I mean, I went through about 20 of these things before a good one would pop up. That's terrible. And so, I got this, and, it looked great. And then the back, the wood grain's beautiful in the back and everything, The color's consistent, neck through, back of the headstock. So, I gave it a try, got it. But I did notice, when zoom in on the fingerboard, it was like something there. I just figured they didn't clean up. They were sloppy, When I got it and I looked up close at it, I said, oh my gosh. And I started rubbing at it. I was like, they got lacquer in the fingerboard. Lacquer in the fingerboard. You're supposed to mask off the fingerboard before you start lacquering the neck. Oh my gosh. And then, I have a studio that they forgot to wet sand the neck joint. Right in here on both sides, they forgot to wet sand. You can still see the brush strokes from the lacquer. You're supposed to smooth it out to like glass and buff it back up to a high gloss. And they didn't even bother to do that. On their rolled edges, on the studio, they only rolled the edge on one side. They hacked the other side. And they were a little more consistent on this one. But I mean, it's a haphazard, it's enough. It's rolled enough. But when I was playing one of my American Ultras and everything, my Fenders, I was like noticing, I was going, like, the fingerboard was like glass, it's smooth. And any of my Ebony's glass, smooth, beautiful, wonderful. And I went and picked this up like right afterwards, and I was like, oh, it was like sandpaper. So then I started stretching the strings apart and rub my finger on it. And I mean, it was rough. So I took several other guitars and started feeling the fingerboard, and they were all smooth, Rosewood does have a little more texture to it, but I mean, this is absolutely, this is like 600 grit sandpaper. Like, it's not a very comfortable feeling. And you can even see it when you look up close and you get the light on it, that they did not sand it down to make it smooth. And the funny thing is they write about how they make it so smooth. They buff it down with machines and everything. It's like, oh, it's perfect. And it's like, yeah, whenever you brag a good game, you usually have a bad one, right? And that's what they did. They bragged a good game, and it was the worst. It's just that, you know, that's a huge thing right there. Lacking a fingerboard, you know, sugar brown. I mean, you know, like I said, their quality control is just terrible. Even when you get a good one, you got a bad one. Now, this was $2,699, and then, you know, again, crappy one, crappy one, crappy one, crappy one. A month goes by. Oh, hey, we're going to go and charge $2,899 now. And finally, a good one came. I said, okay, I got to have one. This is one of my favorite guitars ever of all time. The Heritage Cherry, AAA veneer, you know, Les Paul standard. And, you know, so I took a chance on it and everything. And now it's like $3,199. I mean, the only thing that goes up in value is a house usually. But if you have a Gibson guitar, it will go up in value. And people will pay it too. Even crappy ones. That people will be like, oh, I got to get that. You know, so is it worth it? Okay, is it worth it? No, it's not. It is not worth it. Okay? It is not worth it in the least bit. Do I regret the purchase? No. Because no matter what, if you want the quality parts, the quality was everything, you know, and not get something that says Epiphone on it and everything, actually have an official Gibson, like all your favorite rock stars have, you really only got one choice. It just stinks that their quality control is not there. They don't care. They laugh at us, consumers. And, you know, this is why I only own two. And really, I only bought the studio because I finally was like, dude, I want a Les Paul. Like, I finally had the money to be able to afford a Gibson. And, you know, after decades, you know. And so it's like, you know, and that one, damn, I'd sell that in a heartbeat. Like, it just wasn't for me, you know. And it's the same issue with the fingerboard and everything. So, you know, but this is definitely, I mean, like I said, I'm happy I have it because I actually have, you know, well, it looks great on camera. It sounds great. But, you know, there are some, doesn't necessarily feel good when you're, you know, vibrato and everything. It just, but otherwise than that, so the lesson to all this is that buy what you can afford and buy what you like. You know, what basically inspires you. But don't get hung up on what the rock stars play, because it really, in the end of the day, Schecter puts out a better guitar, Fender puts out a better guitar, just about every brand puts out a better guitar, and a whole lot less. So, to the next video, keep on rocking your axes, and don't buy a Gibson Les Paul. Unless you got all the money in the world and quality control doesn't matter to you, then go right out and buy yourself a Les Paul. But for the love of gosh, go in Sweetworth. You can see what you're going to get before you get it. Like I said, the washed out veneer syndrome. I mean, they look like worn out pairs of jeans, you know? Like acid wash jeans with those little streak white marks through it, man. I mean, they're terrible. They're terrible. But to the next video, keep rocking your axes. One other thing, it's not balanced, which means playing without a strap on, even in a sitting position, is impossible. Yeah.